Hello everyone, and welcome to my channel. Today we are going to be finding some centers. It's a question that everybody has because naturally this is all about symmetry. Let's get into it. So today I'm going to cover a few different ways that you can find the center of basically any of your items. What are we going to need? Surface. A surface always helps. This is already prepped. I am using a white charcoal pencil. This is my favorite thing to draw. It easily comes off. I've pulled out a couple of different rulers. I do like having a longer one, and then for one of these methods, I do like working with the smaller one as well. We're also going to need scissors, blank paper, or lined paper, or colored paper, or any sort of paper that you wish. Probably a pen. There are tools that you can find on places like Amazon and maybe even like your drafting, art, craft supply stores, places like that, that are called center finders. If that is the thing for you, awesome. If you have all of these particular items on hand and just want to do it yourself, this video is going to help. So the first method, we're going to do the paper method. So I've already pre-done this because otherwise I'm going to be tracing and cutting and it's just going to be a whole lot. So what I did is I put my surface, which I promise is right here. I put my surface onto a piece of paper. I traced around the edge with a pen or a pencil, and I did like really tight to the edge. And then I cut out my circle. And then what I did is I folded my circle in half. I folded my circle in half again, and I got this fun little guy. And then I just barely nipped off that top corner. So when all is said and done, I have something like this. Now, this is a great method for smaller pieces. I threw out the larger one that I had because it was actually two pieces of paper taped together, which is really not ideal because I didn't have paper that was big enough. What I should have probably done was grabbed wrapping paper and traced it on wrapping paper, but there's another method that's going to help you find the center of any size. So what we're going to do when doing this, the key is going to be feeling the edges of your paper and the edges of your surface. So if you've got too much overlap on one side, or the other side, or the other side, then you're not actually going to be centered. So now what I'm going to do is I personally find it easier if I make a little X as opposed to just a center dot. So I'm just following the lines of my folds. So there we have it. We have a center. Now, if you want to check your size before you go any further, something that I always like to do on my wood pieces is I can't do it on like acrylic or canvas or anything like that. I like to go right into the center of that center and punch a tiny hole with my compass because things get moved and it's just a whole lot easier because now it's not going to move around. So if you want to check your size, just go right to the edge, right to the edge, to the edge, right to the edge. Beauty. Now for this second method, we're going to need our rulers. So you can do it in inches, you can do it in centimeters, you can do it in whatever you want. But what we're going to do is we're going to create, and I like to do this, I personally use centimeters, I'm in Canada, so I like to go with an even number because I'm also going to have to find my halfway point. So I'm going to make right edge to edge, I'm going to make a line, and I'm going to make a little tiny tick right where my halfway point is. And now over here, I'm going to use those exact same measurements because you want to have same lengths. And I'm just doing very lightly with my pencil. So, oops, apparently this isn't stuck down very well today. So now I've got 2 lines and 2 center points in my lines. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to use this one so that I can see better, because I don't want my line to be crooked. See if I can, oh, I'll do it this way because I just zoomed in. So I don't want my ruler to be crooked on my line. I want my ruler to be straight on my line. There we go. Is what we want to do is we want to go straight up from that center point, and we just want to do a short line. Same thing on the other side. Straight, straight, straight. And would you look at that? There's my center. And what I can do, again, I can set my compass right to the edge, double check all of my measurements to make sure that it is actually centered, and voila. And then all you would have to do is take, oh, I got rid of my paper towel, a damp Q-tip, not a wet one. We can get rid of any lines that we don't want, including these ones, because we won't need these ones anymore. We have our center. Next up, we're going to do this cute little keychain. So I could, I guess, in theory, do the paper thing, I could do the ruler thing, but this is really small. So there are actually templates, like this one, that are actually keychain size. I personally don't have those, but here's a fun little hack. I'm just going to drop my chair down here for a second so I can actually see. So I'm going to find my keyhole, but then what I'm going to do, what is even better, I'm going to put this on here so we can actually see. And there, how's that for everybody? That's way better. So I'm just using my Happy Dotting Company flexible silicone template. I'm going to put it on there, and I am going to, basically what I'm looking at is I'm looking at all this negative space on the template. So I'm looking at the distance of the actual positive space, and I'm looking at the distance of the negative space. And I'm just going to slide this around as best I can until I feel like I found it. And there we go. So up next, I have this square with rounded corner coaster. Well, it's going to be a coaster anyways. So this I find is when it gets a little bit tricky. I don't have squared off corners to work with, to work ruler wise. to kind of do one of these because it's all kind of off. If I try and use one of my templates, kind of gets a little bit tricky, so I can't really see anything. I don't know if you guys can see anything either. Let's do this. Hopefully this will help. There we go. It kind of gets a little bit tricky. Like now you can kind of see some of that negative space and positive space, and it's tricky. So what do? Well, I do one of these. Well, okay, actually pick up my rulers. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to work inside of my rounded corners. Doesn't need to be completely squared off, but basically. So I'm just going to go, oops, it's not a centimeter. I'll erase that one. So well, I can do a half. How's that? We're going to do a ½ centimeter on each, and this is 12.5, so we're looking at 6.25. And I'm going to do that all the way around. I'm so used to spinning on my turntables, so I apologize. It was kind of important for you guys to be able to see what I'm doing here. And I want, of course, my fingers in the way. Hopefully my hair's not in the way either. So there we go. So now we can do we have it. And just like other pieces, I'm going to find that exact center point. I'm just going to stab my compass in there. There we go. I hope these methods helped you. Please let me know which method is your favorite. If you have any questions, comments, or maybe you'd like to see something in a future video that you're struggling with or you're curious about, feel free to let me know. See you all in the next one.